very good morning to you. So you must be feeling pretty happy this morning. Are there any results that are particularly significant to you?
Yeah, look, it's been a historic set of results for reform. I want to thank the millions of people who turned out to vote for their local reform candidates or national reform candidates. And this is a historic moment. No political party, no insurgent political party has ever managed to, for example, defeat and demolish Labour in their heartlands in the Red Wall, for example, while simultaneously demolishing the Tories in some of their heartlands like Essex. I mean, a result that really stood out to me was of the 25 seats up in Wigan, for example, Reform won a staggering 24 of those 25 seats. And we saw that, across the country. Reform is now the last remaining and the only truly national political party. It's a huge credit to what Nigel Farage has been able to build in a short period of time. And I think these results show, having swept the board in last year's local elections, we've taken a big step towards making Nigel Farage our Prime Minister.
To what extent could this be a mid-term protest vote, as some people are saying? Traditional, of course, at local elections and with a clearly unpopular government. Are you confident that voters will stick with you come a general election?
Well, we never take any vote for granted, and we're going to continue to get our message out. We think we can continue to grow our vote share. I think Reform is performing really well in the relatively small number of councils that it controls already. But you also have to look at the underlying dynamics now, not just under Labour. I mean, all Labour are doing is accelerating what the Tories already did, basically running an open borders policy, refusing to secure our border, handing over taxpayer money, taxing people to their eyeballs, and British taxpayers feeling like they're having to fund the invasion of their own country. We hear that on the doorstep time and time again, the sense of a decline in law and order, endless increases in public spending and welfare spending, and the people who set their alarm clocks before they go to bed and go and do a hard day's work increasingly asking, why do I bother? There's no sense that any of that is going to change. In fact, I would argue if Keir Starmer is replaced, as seems increasingly likely, whoever comes after him, if you look at the roster of candidates, I think you're going to see those dynamics accelerate, which is why we think the chances of an early general election have materially increased.
The results of yours are very good, but your share of the vote's actually gone down compared to last year, hasn't it? It's gone down from, I think, 32% to about 27%. The pollster, Peter Kellner, says it's possible that your support may have peaked. Do you think he has a point?
Well, the first thing is, I've been in politics a couple of years, and when I came into politics, all the chattering heads and those same polling experts were saying Farage parties peaked at 14%. Then apparently they peaked at 20, then they peaked at 25, then they peaked at 30. You get my point. The big difference, actually, if you're just looking at the raw percentages this year versus last year, mathematically, is obviously a lot of seats up in London this year, where, Reform is less strong there, in large part because of the, enormous change, actually, that has happened in London. And so, look, the reality is, I think Reform has taken a big step towards winning the next general election, not least, as I said, because we are now the only truly national party that has a chance to get a mandate from the whole country.
I mean, you've done particularly well in areas that previously voted Brexit, didn't you? And less well in parts of London, which you highlighted just there. Are there some areas that you're going to find it hard to make an impact?
Yeah, look, I think the nature of politics in this, in a first past the post system, even throughout my lifetime in politics in this country, we have seen either the Tory party or the Labour Party win significant majorities with around 40% of the vote. So even at that time, when it was really a two-party system, there were parts of the country that were more challenging than others. But I think what's really interesting, as I said, is Reform is appealing to people all across the United Kingdom, and that is evidenced in the results. As I said, across Scotland, from the top, the northeasternmost parts of Scotland through to the southwesterly-most parts of England, Nigel's travelled the length of the country. We get an amazing reception, and again, look at the results. So look, I think this is a continued stepping stone for Reform. I think we're going to be able to continue to reach more people. I would also say to people who voted Tory yesterday, voted Conservative, many of whom I understand have voted Conservative their entire lives. Look, the reality is in a first past the post system, you have to decide which party really has a chance of winning and actually being able to affect the change that you seek to see. And if you want secure borders and the deportation of illegal migrants, the return of law and order, and being able to keep more of the money that you work hard to earn, then
Okay.
I would strongly advise you to consider voting for reform.
On the subject of the Tories, there's going to be a number of Tory MPs who might be a bit concerned about losing their seat come the next general election on the basis of yesterday's elections. Would your door be open to any of them?
No, there was a deadline. Nigel gave a deadline of May the 7th. That has now passed. The reform will not be
not a
taking
single
anymore.
further Tory MP, whoever they are, is welcome in reform?
None.
OK. Definitive answer. We will leave it there. Zia Yusuf, thanks very much indeed.
Thank you.